CFTO, I know, to a lot of folks, and for many of the longtime employees of CTV in Toronto, this is a labor of love. It has lasted for decades in some cases. A number of our staff have shared their thoughts on being part of Toronto's most watched TV.
So this is what we call a flexi-carton.
It has a fancy name, but what it really is a computer that plays back the television shows that air on CTV stations.
And what happens is we put all the programming for the entire day into these machines, which
Harold Wesley oversees programming operations as CFTO marks its 50th anniversary. He joined CTV in 1965.
Hard to believe it's 50 years, but hard to believe I've been here 45.
Harold started in the mailroom and worked his way up to director of operations. There's no more film, and the last of the tape is being phased out. And soon, everything will be played out of a computer. Byron Auburn has been on the front lines for CFTO News for 31 years. Everything he shoots now is on a digital disc. He was shooting film in 1979, working for a sister station in Montreal when he came to CFTO. That's him during his Montreal years, in the center of an event with René Lévesque. And his first day on the job with the CFTO Bureau in Montreal set the tone.
And I walked into the CTV office and they just said to me, "You won't get any milk and cookies here." And I ran out to my car and loaded my camera.
Byron moved to Toronto 2 years later. And for the veteran, it's all about getting the pictures that tell a story. On his first day in Toronto, he was able to get the pictures showing a man leaving court despite efforts by the man to hide himself with an umbrella.
We all got really excited because I managed to get the camera under the umbrella that he was holding, and the news director was pretty excited. It's a great job. I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Robert Hurst is another longtime staffer who hit the ground running. He started 38 years ago as a writer for CTV's Canada AM. His first day on the job came midway through the university school year when he was still a student in London, Ontario.
I had a job interview on a Friday afternoon in January, and late Friday afternoon, and I drove down from the University of Western Ontario. And they said, "Okay, we're going to offer you the job, lowest paying job in the newsroom, $9,000 a year." And I said, "Okay, when would you like me to start? Because I finished my school year in April, and I'd like to take a little vacation." And they said, "You'll start Monday."
Hurst never looked back. He went on to become news director at CFTO at the age of 26, a national correspondent for CTV, and then president of CTV News. He is retiring after 38 years as CFTO turns 50.
I had the news gene embedded in my soul, and I wanted to see Canada and the world.
Roland Gehrig is a studio cameraman now, and he got his start at CFTO fresh out of college as well. 1986 was the year. Don Adams of Get Smart fame was in the studio working on another program when Roland started out.
We had Don Adams in here shooting Check It Out at that time.
And CFTO had one of the largest TV production studios in Canada.
I was just freshly out of broadcasting college, and it was my first exposure to big-time production.
Behind the scenes, there are even more people who call CFTO home and consider their colleagues a second family. There's Rhoda Agbaje in the Niner Diner, the company cafeteria. She's been here for 21 years.
I think I started in September 1990.
Rhoda has been the chef at CFTO for 5 years now, and she says the fond friendships began the first day.
Because when my daughter was getting married, I invited a lot of people. Everybody was there, including Kenshaw and Drakes. Everybody they showed up.
When it comes to CFTO, one voice stands out, but you never see it.
Watch this consumer alert before you change yours.
That's Lee Marshall, and he's the man behind the big voice that promotes our newscasts and primetime shows.
Sunday at 8 on CTV.
Why police now believe the victim was targeted. Then
Lee has been promoting CTV News at 6 on CFTO since 1998.
Well, I don't know if people necessarily recognize my voice if they don't know me. If they know me, yeah, because I know what I do, people tell them. But other people will say, Well, you've got quite a voice. Do you know how to sing?
Watch CTV News.
The answer, by the way, is no. Lee doesn't sing.
Tonight at 6.
Lee's stuff is in here.
Back to Harold Wesley. As a staffer for 45 years, we'll give him the last word on what it's been like to be part of CFTO as we mark 50 years.
I got to tell you, 90% of the time when I leave the building, I go, this is a great business to be in. You know, 45 years later, when you love your job, that's cool.
It's not the technology that makes the difference. It's the people, both on camera and behind the scenes.
Now you know one of our best kept secrets, the man with the big voice, the pipes behind CTV, announcer Lee Marshall. And you know what, I got to tell you something. He's sort of reminiscent of Grizzly Adams. He's about 6'4". He's one of the nicest guys you're ever going to want to meet, and so talented, and just one of the, the many in our family here. Our walk down memory lane continues right through the week. We're going to celebrate our 50th anniversary, of course, with New Year's Eve. We cap it all off tomorrow by introducing you to 6 famous people who helped shape CTV Toronto. And as we look back this week, next week we're going to look forward. 50 years forward. We begin a week-long series of Toronto 2061. That starts next Monday at 6. And be sure to visit ctvtoronto.ca. You can check out our special 50th anniversary section. You can see how Toronto television production has changed over the years, as well as tributes to our retired veteran broadcasters Jim Junkin and Dave Duvall. All that is at ctvtoronto.ca. And still ahead tonight, for a nick or a cut, you may want to reach for a bandage.
New ones claim to be waterproof, but are they?
Researchers test the latest waterproof bandages to see if their claims hold water. I'm Pat Fora, and I'll have the tests from the lab just ahead.
Also tonight, been another wild year in the weather department, hasn't it? Have you got any idea what the top weather story of 2010 is? We'll have that for you later in the newscast.
Us weather wingies know, because we're the ones who sort of dictate it, right? Anyway, the big question I got today was, did we break any temperature records? And the answer is no, not today. 7 was the number to beat back in 1965. We won't break it tomorrow either with a record high of 14, but Saturday, looking very, very close. I'll have your forecast numbers along with details on who in Ontario will get over 30 centimeters of snow in the next 36 hours. It's all coming up after the break. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Corporal Arkady Dobryakin. My hometown is Toronto. I'm currently serving in Afghanistan. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all Canadians, and especially my family, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Мама, папа, Наташа, поздравляю с Новым годом. Я скоро приеду домой.
CTV News at 6 with Ken Shaw, Christine Bentley, weather with Tom Brown, and sports with Lance Brown. Stay with Toronto's #1 news.
Our prisoners escaped from